Mate, you touched on your dad, your old boy before.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious about how to navigate this
Yeah.
conversation. Are you comfortable about talking about your old boy? Is it something that you talk about often?
Nah, but listen, I'm comfortable now. I wasn't for a long time. I just didn't do it. I kind of, well, I mean, touching, I'll tell you a bit about it. So when I was 15, my dad went to work. He didn't come home, and we were tight, and he committed suicide. And it just rocked all of us, right? Rocked our world. My family will never be the same. My mum never moved on. You know, my brother's, you know, he's been impacted by it greatly. We all have. It was a real shock to the system. Didn't see it coming. You know, knew he was going through a bit of a tough time, but he was very much like me too. Like, he was very driven, and he'd been successful in business, but had some hard times, and you know, his best mate kind of ripped him off, and he didn't know how to handle it. Didn't have the tools and techniques and people that back then. It was very stigmatized back then. It was like, if you kill yourself, like back in that day, you're selfish, or you're you know, it was a real negative, you know, it was really negative. And but my way of so that's been hard for me, because you don't have that mentor for the rest of your life.
Mate, even talking about it now, right? And it was what?
Mate, it'll never
ago?
go away, because it was such a shock, and it's just something you never expect, and it'll never go away. It'll haunt me forever. But I didn't deal with it at the time, and this is, I think, a good lesson for people watching, is I didn't deal with the trauma. I was that, like, I used it as motivation, right? What would he want? And how can I make him proud? And how can I do my family proud? And I played in a golf tournament days after.
That's wild.
I just went and played, and I moved on with my life. And of course it was there. I was a mess, but I just went, fuck this. You know, what's next? And I just powered on. And I remember my uncle was caddying for me, you know, in a state championships golf tournament in Bowral, I think it was, or something like that. And everyone's mourning the death of my dad, you know. But, like, you know, as I said, it's a really tough thing to talk about, but I'm better now. I could never talk about it. I'd break down it, because I didn't deal with the trauma.
Yeah.
And then hit me, like, in my 20s, like, when I was going through those hard times, that hit me hard.
Yeah.
Because I you know, you kind of look for that person to lean on, but then I dealt with it then with therapists and sports psych.
So there wasn't, because people always think that there's got to be like a full rock bottom. You know, I was drinking too much. I lost everything. I hit the brick wall.
Yeah.
Was there a rock bottom at all, or was that?
I would say what I said before was pretty rock bottom.
Yeah.
But you have I've had a few. Like, you have a few rock bottom moments, you know, and you know, going through separation and divorces, and you know, when you got kids involved. But I deal with everything a lot better now. Like, since, you know, my probably 30s, you know, like I'm 41. So I deal with everything a lot better, and I know how to deal with it more, like, because I learned from that. Because when you hit rock bottom and you haven't dealt with your past traumas, and, you know, you can get dark, you know. And I think my advice would be, if you do go through something quite severe, whether it's death or whatever it may be, and I think dealing with it at the time is probably a good thing. You know what I mean? Like
talking about it
and getting it off your chest, because it can hold you back, you know, and it can hit you harder later in life. And then it could be too late. You know what I mean?
Is that advice that you would give young 14-year-old Braith or 15-year-old Braith?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think, you know, even though I was so sick, like, I was successful quick, I hit a brick wall, and it nearly cost me my career and a lot of other things, right? I think I would have dealt with it more, and just take a step back and deal with the trauma, and go see a therapist, and which I did, but I didn't follow it through. I was just kind of there, empty. I wasn't really there, because I think a lot of people I talk to about similar situations, they do agree, and they've done the same, and it comes back. It comes back, you know?
Mate, that would resonate with so many people, because I know, mate, I'm sure we both have mates who have lost family members to suicide, which is wild to think about. Like, I can't imagine being a young kid going through that. So I imagine there'd be so many, kids, family members, parents that are going through the exact same thing, and they're bottling it up, like not talking about it. Like, that's such a great bit of advice.
You see a lot of kids, right? And it's sad as it is, you see it happens in communities too. because I would assume it's probably similar.
Yeah.
And most suicides, I'd say most are shock. You know, it's unexpected. You know, but because they're not dealing with it life or dealing with even their friend suicides or their whoever it may be. I think you got to be aware of that, even if you know people who have dealt with it, to surround them and get them to talk and kind of mourn. I think mourn but speak at the good times. But like, you got to kind of deal with it. It doesn't go away. It's not going to go away, But again, it's like everything in life. What tools do you use to be able to power on and accept it, but still live a nice life and still have your moments. We're all going to have moments, when you miss the people that you've lost and all that. But you can't ignore it. You just can't. It'll get you somehow.
How old was your dad?
He was my age, 41.
Your exact age today,
which spun me out. Yeah.
Have you reflected? Have you thought about that lately?
Yeah. My birthday actually. Yeah, I reflect on it big time because it was just like fuck. Like it was and
especially now because you've got young girls. Yeah.
It was actually emotional, but yeah, I think it sort of realised like at the time when you're kind of 15, 16, your dad's 40. You think they're old, don't you? Like you old pricks, like they're nearly dead. These people, like you think they're old, and then you get to 40, and you go, "Fuck, I'm young.
I'm still young."
And I respect my mum so much. Like my mum's my rock, and we're like this, ever since really. But we were before, but even more so. But I think like for my mum to go through that at that age too, like. And she hasn't moved on since. Like she'd never even contemplated it. She was like so happily in love. She hasn't moved on with anyone or even been on a date. But like I just think far out, man. At 40, at that age to sort of get to that point is sad. But so much more life to live. And when I hit 41 this year, I was like, wow, that's just crazy to think that that it happened at that age.